Welcome back to the Hollow Table Games Network. I'm Ginger Joey.
And I'm Batman.
Oh, really? Are you now?
I'm Batman.
You're Batman.
I'm
You're
Batman.
you're you're Batman. I don't want to be Robin. You can't be Batman. I don't want to be Robin. If
Fair.
anything, I'm
Fair.
the Riddler. So
There you go. No, the new Lego Batman came out, so obviously Batman's all that's on my mind right now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So a little bit of Batman time in this weekend outside of our fun times this weekend.
Yep, this is our weekly SWUmary, where we are going to recant what happened over the weekend in the PQ world and competitive scene of Star Wars Unlimited. That will also include our personal experiences because we had our Portland PQ this weekend as well. But first, we are going to start with the Prague because Prague was the big regional, and that is kind of the culmination of this season of Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah, overall, pretty exciting. Nice thing we got out of Prague, too. If you scroll down there, we got a full look at the meta stats day one and day two. Scroll down.
I have to
Oh,
hit
yeah.
look more.
Well, you should be way past all that, actually. Way past all that. There's a gallery slip. Yeah, if you didn't do show more, you just needed to. There we go. That's what I wanted you to pull up right there. So we just got a quick, easy snapshot. Here's our biggest in the meta day one, day two. No surprise, as we've been saying, look at day one. It's Boba, Lando, and Obi. A lot of those, but that's not, I mean, that's still only 35-ish% of the meta, approximately. So it's not there's a lot of variety in there as well. And then look what happened day two. Those Bobas washed out pretty hard. So Boba's kind of been on a downward slide. People have figured out the lines against him, and he's getting shut down consistently, it appears. Even Lando didn't carry that many over to day two of Premiere. So a lot of those big decks just are not coming through because people are ready for it, and people are bringing surprising new decks. The winner, I got to call it out, which I love to death, is Admiral Akbar Data Vault again. So that is so much fun. We had 2 Kazuda Data Vaults in the top 8. So yeah, a very varied top 8 that we ended up with. So pretty exciting. It's kind of what I was telling Joey. We've been talking about this is it kind of just shows us that we're going into this Galactics, this next set meta before Galactics, and the field is kind of wide open. There is no deck that is just so good that, yeah, it's going to get updated next set, and it's going to keep dominating. No, there's just a big variety of things that can work, which I think is fun going into Galactics next, when you just got to kind of prepare for what you can figure out and see how it goes.
It's fun and it's frightening at the same time, though, because if you don't have a meta, you don't really have something to look to tech against. So when things are the wild, wild west, it's like, oh, well, you can get caught with your pants down really easily, which means you're not really able to playtest and practice against stuff because you never know what's going to come at you. It's kind of just your deck has to be on such an engine of efficiency that it doesn't matter what comes at you and you'll be able to survive. And that's sometimes like trying to put the kitchen sink in the deck. And that, check it from somebody who knows, that does not work. So
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. I probably am not going to be playing in Galactics, so it doesn't matter that much anyway to me. Aside from if I do make it, I'm going to just be in the last chance qualifier. But I would have to, place. I don't even know how the placements is. That is it just top 8 is going to get to day 2 or to day 1 or what?
no. So if you do the last chance, my
Yeah.
understanding is you have to go X1 to qualify. So
Okay.
it would be I believe it's an 8 or a 9 round. So you can only lose one game. If you lose 2
Okay.
games, you're out. So
All right.
it's basically 0-2 drop. You're done. But yeah, that's my understanding of how it's going to run. They did make it to where you do not have to run the same deck in the last chance qualifier as you would in the actual Galactics Championship.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
just because you qualify it the last chance with a deck does not mean you have to use that same deck. So last year, that was not the case. You had to run the same thing on both days.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where that is at. So if we scroll back all the way to the top, since I hit load more, you'll see yes, Data Vault was kind of the big thing, and this still goes back to my frustration is that just these rare bases always crump out everything else like that, and with all this health, it's like if you're not playing Data Vault, you just lose. If you're not playing Lake Country, you just lose. For the most part, it feels very like meh to me.
It's a little bit of an uphill climb, and yeah, it's the challenge of the fact that that extra. The meta is still so aggressive that extra health feels essential, basically.
Well, I think there's only one card that is causing that, though.
I mean,
Aggressive
yes,
negotiations from out of nowhere, and that's what the problem is. Like if aggressive negotiations didn't exist, I don't think you get such burst out of the left field that you would that extra health was almost be mandatory.
fair, and I do agree. Yeah, again, aggressive negotiations. I mean, the problem with aggressive negotiations is the fact that it has no cap.
Correct.
That's really the problem with it. If you told me it was a +3 for 3, or like Surprise Strike a +3 for 2, it's very good, but it's not shifting the meta around it because aggressive negotiations later in the game can swing for 7, 8, 9, 10. It becomes a huge swing, which I agree. It brings some frustration, and I again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think without aggressive negotiations and topple, we'd have an even wider meta at that point in time.
I think Topple hasn't. I think it's been proven not to be as problematic as it was
I don't think it's
initially
as
thought of.
problematic. I think it does shut down a number of decks, though. Still, like there are a number of decks that topple is just game. It's just game ending for him.
Potentially, but I think a lot of it has to do with like it's more so because of the Boba leader being able to like
Yeah.
spread that damage so efficiently
Oh yeah,
that that's what
100%.
causes that. If it wasn't for that, like for instance, think if you say Top of the Summit was only a aggression card and not a villainy card, right?
Yeah.
Then would Padme be able to use it efficiently? Because she can just spread pings around and then topple when she flips. I don't think it's going to be the same thing.
It wouldn't be as good. No,
Right.
I 100% agree. It is the Boba topple interaction that is the problem.
I mean, I saw a
That makes it.
gross. I mean, you and I both did because we saw that one match that we commentated on at the Portland
Yeah.
PQ. That was a late game topple from hand that just board wiped somebody.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's again. Those are the two cards I wish we would see go away. We're not going to see go away. They're going to be around for a while. Well, at least for one more set, or at least past Galactics. There's always a chance something shifts and they ban it, but the flip side as well is also they are rotating out at the end of this year also, so those two become less of an issue, and yeah, we'll see what else we get out of the rest of this year. Wait, are they both rotating out at the end of this year? Yes.
Yeah, because aggressive negotiations was from Secrets, which was the end of year 2,
Yep.
and
And
then
then Apple
Topple
is
I think
from
was Jump
Legends. Do you jump to
Legends,
Lightspeed? Yeah,
Jump or
jump. No, jump to
Legends.
Lightspeed. You're right. Yeah, jump to Lightspeed.
So that
So
would
yeah,
then cycle out as well.
both of those will change. And it's a little early to talk about it, but honestly, as I think about it more, the post rotation meta is going to be interesting too because we're losing all of jump to light speed. So suddenly pilots do not become a large focus of the meta anymore after we rotate. So
I think the
we'll
next
see where
set
things go from
answers
there.
pilots already. There's been already 2 cards spoiled that basically make pilots go bleh. So we might have an answer for them almost immediately before Galactics
Yeah,
happens. So
very possible. But
but this being like kind of the culmination, it's very interesting to see this nice eclectic leader showing in this top 8 of a 663 player tournament. That's nothing to snub
Wow.
at, right?
Yeah.
663, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big tournament. That's really nice.
The other thing to have note was at a regional, you also have a limited championship that happens, and there was
Hmm.
560 players in that one, so that's also a huge turnout for that.
Yeah, that's
So
big as well.
it did show you that a lot of the players that were in the limited probably were also in the premiere, but there was a good 100 that did not play limited that were in the premiere. So
Hmm.
we do have a good smattering of others. You have a Yoda data vault here. Wait, okay, that's the Eternal.
Yep.
That's why I was like,
That's
wait a
worth
minute.
bringing up is the Eternal, actually. If you want to click into that one, I think that's worth bringing up and looking at what the Eternal meta is looking like post Django bans. Not Django himself, but cards
Still got
specific for Django. And
number 2
uh,
Django.
yeah, Django's still doing okay, but you're not seeing a lot of them. So, and I know this will make you happy. Look, Tarkentown's back. We got 2 Tarkentown
Shocker.
decks back.
Shocker.
Uh, Not a surprise there, but yeah,
But oh,
it's
look,
still
data vault,
looking
data
pretty
vault, data
diverse.
vault.
Yeah, you're going to see plenty of that. We'll see once I get my Callus data vault built how that turns out as well. But yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. Data vault and Tarkin Town is going to be a lot of Eternal, but it does look, at least at the moment, we're not getting flooded with Django. So maybe the changes Fantasy Flight made were the right ones. Flip side, this was also a 21 player tournament. So
Sure.
can't learn a lot from it.
Unlike ours in Portland, which had 114 players,
Whew,
almost
the turnout.
doubling every other tournament out there except for this one. It was, yeah, we've always had a good turnout in Portland. And this top 8 is a little bit of what you expected to see.
Yeah.
So we did have 19 Lando Lake Country decks, I believe is what it was. We had that was followed up by, oh, I wish I'd saved that infographic from D-Rod in
Yeah.
the
Yeah, that'd be
stream.
good. Yeah. Well, go
But
watch the screen. You can see it.
yes, for sure, for sure, for sure. But surprisingly, Obi-Wan was, I think, only 7 decks were Obi-Wan.
Hmm.
And that was a combination of Virgin's Temple and Blue Force, which means 2 of them hitting top 8 has got a good conversion rate at that point in time.
Yeah, they
I
did
think the
good.
next one was Boba Fett and then Daedra were the top decks that we had represented at ours.
I was
I took a deck
Lando,
that I
Lando,
shouldn't
Boba.
have.
It was Lando, Boba, Daedra, then Obi.
Yeah.
That was the list.
So,
Yeah.
um,
So
yeah.
yeah, you were saying. You,
Well, Luke won the entire thing. Seamus, I believe he is
yeah.
a Seattle guy.
Yep.
Um,
He's from Seattle.
yeah, so he took down this whole thing. Keegan Byers is a very accomplished player. BT is part of the Babu Freaks. Jay Fire is part of the Babu Freaks. Carson Caruso is probably one of the Pacific Northwest's top players. I mean, you see him in top 8s all the time. Chris Wolf is
Hmm.
out of Salem, and he's hit numerous top 8s as well in PQs. So this was a stacked top 8 from the Pacific Northwest right here. So
Yeah, very good players. A lot of great players. Also worth mentioning, this was the biggest PQ of this set. We were the biggest of any PQ, 114. The next was 113 out in Germany, 109 in New Jersey. So once again, we keep getting the players out here. So maybe we can hopefully get some adjustments to the scoring so we get a little bit more value out of these giant PQs and get a little points out of it would be nice.
yeah, we're
Uh,
definitely big advocates for we need to start scaling the points based off of every 32 players that are in a PQ, you scale down past the top 8 so that people can
yeah,
actually feel like they can piecemeal an invite together here. So,
yeah. It
um
really feels unfair for us Portland players watching all these 10-player PQs and going, well, why can't we have some of those?
well, it's the system it just lends to he who travels the most gets in. So
Yeah,
it's what it is. I myself ended this season with 80 points. I was 20 shy of getting my invite. So and the
yeah.
sad thing was is that I couldn't even get a top 8 because I would have put me at 95. I had to get 4th or better to actually get mine. So
That's just frustrating. Yeah.
Just the fact that I
Yeah,
could end at a 95, be 5 points off. I think I'm happier like being the 20 away than if I would have gotten the top 8 and gotten knocked out and been
that's fair.
5 away. That would have been so infuriating to me. So
That would be frustrating. Yeah,
but I took
100%.
I took the only Jabba deck to this. I was trying to work on my hand destruction stuff that I've done in the past, and I thought the Jabba Garindin bouncing thing had some good legs. I had some good games. I just ran out of time to get reps into play. So there was a couple decks that I ran into that I saw the lines and there was just didn't have the cards set aside to do what I needed to do. And there was a couple matches where I lost literally on a one action differential. So it
Yep.
was I had a Stygian Prime on Invisible Hand, and my opponent had no hand, and he top decked another invisible hand, and
Of course.
I
Yeah.
there goes my Stygian Prime, and then I can't deal with him at that point in time. I had him
Yep.
until he dropped that second invisible hand, and I was like, ah. And then
Yep.
another one was my opponent correctly guessed that I was holding a hold for question in my hand, and when he flipped his leader, he's able to Garindin. He was playing a client deck, and he Garindined and called hold for questioning. And that one client swing that he got away with because it wasn't able to hold him for questioning was exactly what he needed to actually win that match as well. And it was just one of those like, really? So
Yep.
it is what it is. That's what happens. But I think the deck was, I mean, it wasn't like great, but I thought it could have got me there and taken some people by surprise. It was also kind of slanted towards trying to work against control decks with Daedra popping up so prevalent. The goal was, oh, I can put your damage on my underworld unit, and then I'll just bounce the underworld unit back to my hand, and your damage meant
Yeah.
nothing, and you're not getting the card draw, and then I systematically pick your hand apart with my hand destruction. So that's what it was going for, was aiming for. It performed quite well. Pride and joy for me was I had 3 Stygian Primes out on 3 different units against a Land of Lake Country deck, and that was just kicking 6
That's
damage a
gross.
turn. And it was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, that's gross. Yeah, I had another not great days. We talked about this as well, and it really came down to. I mean, I played the Thrawn 4 red. You can actually see me on stream twice in it because I got to get featured initially, and then I got topped up featuring playing a friend of ours, Dan, later in the matches because we got paired up, and it was like, oh, well, they're featuring him, so I'm joining now. But the problem was, I mean, my deck was built to really just wreck Bobas and Landos and do really well against Deidras and do decently against Obies. So what do I see all day? A single Boba, no Landos at all. Like it just obviously what I built my deck around is what I don't run into, and that's because of the problem. I got one Boba Marcel, who may watch this, and it did what it's supposed to do against him. It just shut him down hard, and he couldn't do anything. That's what it's supposed to do against Boba. It really is a deck that just destroys Bobas, does really well against Landos, and yeah, I hit Leia data vaults. I hit, as we mentioned, Dan was playing that third sister yellow that Joey has been seen playing here at times, and
No, no,
I already
no,
knew,
no, no.
or no, third
Dan
sister
was
blue.
playing
Sorry,
third sister blue, and my
blue.
third
Sorry,
sister
blue.
has also been blue. I just
Yes.
splash um Galen Urso, which he does not do in his.
That's the difference. Yeah. So, but yeah, like that is a match that I sat down and went, oh, this is not good for me because I've played it against enough against Joey that I know that is a bad matchup for my deck. So
But
it just that's luck of the draw sometimes. It really is. If I had hit like a Lando or two to start off, I would have been in a lot much better position. But thus it goes.
yeah, the funny thing is that even Dan, once he got matched up against you, he's like, really? Of all the people at this tournament, you're the one person who actually knows what to expect out of this deck, whereas
Yeah.
nobody else would see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah, I know how to handle it, but I also know that I only have a very specific line to deal with this deck.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah,
So,
but
speaking of the Leia Data Vault, this was a brew that the Babu Freaks had been working on, and they both did very, very well that ran this from Babu Freaks. So, Ben, BT here, he kind of has been on this for quite a while, and Rob Briggs, who is also an accomplished player and hit top 32 at Galactics last year, he's part of the Babu Freaks as well. He bubbled at 9 with this deck, so he
Yep.
was right there with it as well. And it just has a lot of good, solid answers to go toe to toe with the um, uh, Obi-Wans, because you're given experience just like they're given experience, so they're not really getting that edge on you at that point in time.
Yep.
The usage of, where'd they go? The constables, outer rim constables. This is in there to get rid of your condemns and stuff from your control players, but also, since it's an aggression card, it activates all of your stuff for Leia. So there
Mm-hmm.
is nothing that when I show you this card, I can buff whatever I want. It doesn't matter anymore. Aggressive negotiations falls into that same category. It's
Yep.
a finisher card. It's like what we've been saying. Aggressive negotiations is splashed in every deck. It doesn't matter what you're playing right now. This is your finishing card because of that ceiling that it has. But by being in this deck with Leia, boom, now I can buff anybody I want. And I have this threat of aggressive negotiations coming at you at some point in time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's such a good like mind game at the same time as keeping pace with tempo, which is what this game is. It is a tempo-based game.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very good deck. As I said, I lost. You could watch me lose to it. Partially with I was not prepared and I kind of took the wrong line initially and should have gone another way. It started to shift, and then that wasn't in a good spot there. But yeah, I didn't have the reps into that deck, and I was in the same boat as Joey. Really didn't get the reps that I needed to do really well, but I also
Life gets in
didn't
the
get the
way
luck I
sometimes.
needed. Yeah, like life got in the way. Plus, also I didn't get the luck in the draws that I needed. Like it was also round one worth mentioning. I hit a Kazuda Data Vault. Not the worst of matchup for me, but I really need a Condemn to put on Kazuda after he flips. And I'm hard mulliganing for that, and usually can hit that with a hard mulligan to try to hit that right away. Didn't hit it both games until 2 turns too late.
You do
And
against me
I
every
lost.
time.
Yeah, like against you, I get it every time, but yeah, didn't quite hit it. So, but yeah, I did run over as I mentioned, I ran over a Boba like it's supposed to. Did pretty darn well against an Obi that's typical Obi. He can outrace me. So it can be hard to stabilize in time before he wins the game. I was able to pull that off, so that felt good too. So got the wins against the meta decks I was more prepared for, but didn't get there against the non-meta decks I was not as prepared for.
And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which was um, with these kinds of formats where you don't really have a solid meta and people are kind of playing what they want. You had your deck kind of aimed at a few targeted decks. If
Yep.
you don't see those decks, now what? You have to just basically have your machine so oiled that it does not matter what you play against. And that if you play against those decks, now you're just in a much more slanted advantage at that point in time.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, overall, a good time. Nice final PQ for the Portland area. And now we can start focusing our minds on Galactic's upcoming.
which Galactics involves Ashes. And we've already
Yes.
started the Ashes preview season. And this is kind of what we're going to be going into as we lead up into Galactics, as we'll be going over some of the cards and the previews and give you kind of our takes on what they're going for and maybe what you can expect out of Ashes in preparation. Because we all know we're only going to get like a week or two after release before we have to go. So if you are going to Galactics, you should be making paper copies, doing whatever you can to practice with the current cards and start playtesting now to give yourself the best shot. That
Yep.
does
Start
not
messing around with
mean,
things.
yeah, that does not mean you have to come up with the next, what was it last time? Kylo Tarkin Town. You don't have to come up with the next Lando Lake Country. Sometimes it's just a matter of taking your existing deck and adding in 3 or 4 cards that then just turn up the volume on the efficiency of your
Mm-hmm.
deck. So don't think necessarily big, just think small tweaks.
Yep. Exactly.
So
So
with
yeah.
that, I think we want to just kind of pour into stuff. Is there anything that stands out? I want to touch base on all the leaders we've seen so far, but is there any other cards specifically, as I scroll through this, Corey, that you think
Yeah.
stand out as great?
I mean, I want to just highlight a couple. I wouldn't say they're all great, but I think they're worth mentioning. I think that yellow, the Sabine unit could end up being something decent. The stat line's not the greatest, but it is 4/5 shielded for 5 plus an exhaust. That's the big thing is you can exhaust a ground unit when a upgrade is played on that unit, including the shielded from it. So it's actually a pretty good counter for 5 flip leaders. Drop Sabine, exhaust the leader immediately. Could be not bad. And I don't hate having a 4/5 shielded.
Just to clarify, it's when an upgrade
Yep.
attaches to this unit, not
Correct.
played, because
That's
played
true. Yes.
implies it has to come from your hand. Attaches
Thank you.
means
Yes.
you can give an advantage token to this unit. It's
Yep.
attaching to this unit, therefore you can then exhaust a ground unit. So, and that's a big differential.
Yep. Yeah. So I think that could end up being a good leader. Also worth mentioning, Get
That's
Lost.
she's not a leader.
I want to highlight, or not leader, a unit. Sorry, a good
Okay.
unit. Get Lost. I want to mention because it's funny. It's talking about upgrades being a problem. Where here's something specifically for blue heroism only to deal with upgraded, but it's also upgraded non-leader units, which
Sure.
I don't think is as useful.
I think it's still very useful because you still have shielded units, and we are going into a set that uses advantage tokens. And so
Yes,
I think that this could be very good. I think the more intriguing part to this is that it's a removal card that is hero
that
exclusive.
is true.
Most
That
exclusive removal cards we've gotten have always been villainous.
Yep. Yeah, that is a big new change there. So excited about that. Uh, Gotta mention Zeb. I do love me some Zeb, and he was great in Mandalorian, and he's looking great as a card as well.
Mandalorian and
So
Grogu, you mean the movie?
yeah, Mandalorian Grogu, yep, the movie. So he's great in there. He's also great in this game.
Yeah, we
Five
went to
seven
we
for
went to go
7.
see the movie, so we got our cards.
Yep, we got our cards. Woohoo! They're going to be so cheap. Everybody's going to
It's
have them.
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it was still a good time. Um, he's interesting. His stat line is not the most amazing, but then you add in the defeat of the advantage tokens being 1 damage for each one that gets defeated. So the fact that you can put 3, so you're basically getting 3 additional damage when you play him, when you put those 3 advantage tokens onto a unit.
Correct, but also, again, a clarification point. It's when a
Yes,
friendly upgrade is defeated. It does not have to be
correct.
an advantage token. So if you put
Yep,
these 3 onto a shielded unit and run that
yep.
shielded unit into another unit to kill said unit, you would lose the 3 advantage tokens and the shield, which would then do 4 damage to your opponent's base.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's exciting. Actually has me thinking about trying to bring back Kanan again, potentially. A blue-red Kanan.
That's an interesting
Uh
deck idea. I do feel
yeah.
his cost is maybe the prohibitive part of Zeb here. It
7
might
is a lot.
be, is there ways to get him into play earlier? Because that static ability to ping your opponent's base, if you could build around having just nothing but upgrade tokens that are constantly coming in and going out, etc., that could be interesting. But that 7 cost happens so late, it's not really an aggro thing. It's more like a, hey, this is a very slow what was the for the no, what was the red card from back in Secrets of Power that was like
Which one do you think of?
you revealed cards out of your hand or you flip cards off of your deck and then they dealt damage to the base.
Oh, I know what one you're thinking of. I cannot remember the name of it, but I know,
Can't
yeah,
remember the name.
the pretty much useless one. Yeah.
Sure, but it's a finishing card basically because you're just trying to
Yeah.
get that last 3 damage off onto their base as much as you can. But is it slow? That's what I want to know. I don't know. I like the concept. I think it's an interesting potential build around. I just wonder if it's too slow. The funny
No,
part to me on
100%.
Zeb is his flavor text says fists work every time, and yet he's wielding a
He's got a
giant gun in the picture. It's
of
like
course.
you could have had
That
him
makes
like just
sense,
like
right?
trying to like duke it out with somebody. That would have been so good.
Yeah,
So
that would have been better. That's so good.
it's
Actually,
still
speaking,
good.
and we did skip past. Let's actually go back. Speaking of leaders, let's talk about our first leader reveal of Sabine.
Okay, I'm not a
I'm
big
not
fan.
loving it.
No.
The two big problems I have, obviously, the leader side, the fact that you're giving your opponent two advantage tokens that they get to choose where they're putting it at, and if they don't have a unit, you're not even getting you can't even use her ability if they
Right.
don't have a unit to put it on. Don't love that.
Well, you can always give him a two-faced Troig and then give him a unit to then deal with.
That's true. You can always give a two-face strike. That's always an option.
Um,
The bigger problem is on her flip side, she's a 3/5 for 5. That just melts immediately.
right.
I wish it was like a 3/5 with shielded that has the on attack of giving shields. Might be a little better. You could have even made it 3/4 or 4/4 or whatever, like the client. But she's just too squishy. There's no way she lives past flipping.
She's definitely going to take some. Like you're going to have something for her. Say
Yeah.
like plot armor or something in blue. Uh, my bigger issue with her front side is you're giving your opponent complete agency on whether or not your leader does anything.
Yeah.
Because it says an opponent gives two advantage tokens to a unit they control. If they do, the next unit you
Well,
play this phase gains shielded.
but it's not a May. They have to give two advantage
So
tokens
if they
if
have a
you use her
unit, they
ability.
have to give the advantage tokens to it.
Yes, they are required. It is not a May option. It is an opponent gives two advantage tokens to a
Okay.
unit. If they do is there because if they don't have a unit, you don't get it.
Then right now, she's just feeling lackluster. There might be something in the set that really makes her pop off kind of thing. Like if they had like a unit that says when a unit gets an advantage token, they take a damage or something like that, right? So then
Yeah.
maybe you can essentially turn this into I'm going to ping your unit for 2 damage. Yeah, you can swing harder, but now they're easier to kill. That could be something if a card like that ever comes out. I don't know if it's going to or not. So,
Yeah.
but right now,
Potentially.
she just feels lackluster.
Yeah. Underwhelming for sure. And then that brings us to skip to our next leader, I think, because I
Well,
don't
hang on.
have much to say. Oh, sorry.
Sabine's lightsabers
Lightsaber.
also had some contact because it's a two
Yeah.
cost 2/2 buff. And
Yeah. Which
then
is not bad.
if it goes on Sabine or any force user, they get restore 2.
Yeah.
So
So
now
you're
you're
going to see this in Obi decks
well, but it's also
ASAP.
it compares to heirloom lightsaber, which
Mhm.
is a blue 2 cost 2/2 buff, has to go on a force user to give restore 1 or something, right? What we're now seeing is redundancy in cards. And
Yeah.
redundancy is what allows for consistency. So if we're going to start seeing different named cards that we can now put both of them in our decks, this is where maybe you're going to start seeing some very fine-tuned machines operating.
Potentially, yes.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes. So then, yeah, Green Lantern, not worth mentioning, but Mandalorian, let's talk about him as well. People are excited about him. I don't love it. It's good. Don't get me wrong. The card draw is nice, but the fact that it's reliant on you taking initiative or on his flip side, you having initiative, that hurts him a lot, in my opinion. That means he's
Potentially.
very reliant on getting initiative and keeping it. And I mean, it's a coin flip start of the game if you get it or not, which I don't love playing my
Right.
deck around a coin flip.
Right. That is like I'm yet to see any cards that steal the initiative in the middle of the turn. So that would be interesting to see if we can get those kind of cards that maybe your opponent started with the initiative, but then you can take it without actually ending your round. That you just claim the initiative, but you get to keep playing cards and everything else like that. So it's a passing of the initiative, so to speak. We
Yeah.
might get those, we might not. Um, I was pretty down on this leader when I first saw it. I've been since thinking about different decks you can run with it. And the biggest one that pops into my head was one that was around very early in the meta, And I think bringing it back with the Mandalorian is probably something I would want to look at trying to do, which is Papa Noida. So if you can bring a Papa Noida in early, or actually, I think Papa Noida on a 4 resource is probably where you want to be playing it, because then you can use your 4th resource to draw a card with the Mandalorian at that point in time, thus creating a
Yeah.
spy token. You also have the new Grogu, which we haven't gone into, but he's a 3 drop that once you claim the initiative, you can immediately attack with somebody, which helps you kind of keep the initiative on your side of the board. Both of those units are also 6 health units, which means they're going to probably stick around for quite a bit. And if you ran this in blue, then you get the Chio Fane. You're building towards aggressive negotiations. You have the new Mandalorian unit that's a 6 drop that's a blue red that then you get to draw a card with that as well. So you're keeping your hand pretty dang flush, all the while making potential spy tokens if Papa Noida is out and surviving this entire time. I think this is a potential way you could build the deck, but you definitely see him as trying to build into an aggressive negotiations or hand size deck of some kind. Because his 4/6 stat line on his unit side is not great for his 6 drop.
Nope. Don't love that at all either. Yeah, especially for a 6 drop. That's brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm underwhelmed. We'll see if anybody can make anything out of it, but it's again, I just do not like playing. I don't like being reliant on initiative in units and leaders. Like just across the board, you you just don't have control over it that much some of the time.
Well, you do, but it kind of messes you up if you take control over it. So,
I mean, you don't
um,
at the start of the game. Like that's
yeah.
the biggest thing. You don't have control at the start of the games.
The other thing that kind of pairs with him is this Dr. Pershing down here, because we now have Dr.
Yes.
Pershing as heroic as well as villainous, and he's more card draw, which ties into the Papa Noida thing as well. And with the support, you can then get another attack with him. So it's just again blue red, more card draw, more card draw, more card draw. So
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I also think, I mean, he's a little easier to shut off comparatively to the other Pershing, just because as soon as you do 2 damage to him, he no longer works. So there is that aspect where he's not as strong as the previous Pershing, but yeah, he's very good still.
yeah.
Yeah, the Grogu unit is great, just flat out great. That is fantastic. 2/6 stat line for 3 that gets an immediate, or when you take the initiative, you just get to attack with another unit to keep the initiative longer. Really good. Going to be hard to clear off the table. Yeah, like it a lot.
So what I like about this is it also can be himself. It's not
Yep.
another unit. You can just attack with him. And this whole keep the initiative and take the initiative also works with the, I'm gonna blank the name. It's the 4/5 that as soon as you take the initiative, they take 2 damage. Zeton something.
Yeah, Zeton. Yeah, I
Yep.
cannot remember. M something.
Yep.
Maj, I think. Yeah, so that's really good there. And we had some other stuff that's been revealed too. What else is worth mentioning? We're kind of running a little long, so I'm just trying to let's kind of hop down to the Thrawn section. I think we should
So
talk about Thrawn.
I do want to
Or
mention
unless you have
this
something
though,
else.
real quick
Yeah.
though. These units, these 2 cost support units that do something, I think they are going to come into play in a bigger way than
Yeah.
because they're basically your fleet lieutenants, and they're going to allow for a lot of like trading up or like taking advantage of something for a little cost investment to get a big value out of it. I don't think they're a 2 drop play. I think they're a support card that is just a cheap support card at that point. Literally having support and everything else like that. I think that's what they're utilized for. So
No, agreed on that. Yeah, support is going to be really the most interesting mechanic of this set. I'm curious to see what more we're going to get, but yeah, that aspect of speeding up the game, getting that attack in at the same time as you play a unit is going to change things significantly, I think.
yeah. So we'll talk about Thrawn. Thrawn has been debated mainly because of his 8 cost. Is that too high? Are you ever going to get there? Is he a trap, so to speak? Right.
Yeah.
The leader side, his ability is really like this on attack. If you control more units than the defending player, you may defeat a non-leader unit they control. This is your
Yeah.
Avenger lock. That's what this is. If you remember from back in Secret or Spark of the Rebellion, where once the Avenger hit the board, it was like, okay, now what? As soon as I play anything, you just attack and kill it. Grand Admiral
Yep.
Thrawn does the same thing essentially. As long as you have a second unit and they had no board, they essentially cannot play anything without just losing whatever that unit is. The question is, would you have already lost or won the game by the time 8 resources comes along? My thing is, I've been waffling back and forth on this, and I think if you relook at his front side, he adds an interesting play change to what people normally think about. And that is, it says action, attack with a unit. It gains restore 2 for this attack if you control the same number of units as the defending player. So let's walk through a little scenario real quickly. We started the game. You play a unit, I play a unit. You claim the initiative. Great. Now we each have 1 unit. Typically, what you want to do now is you have the initiative, you swing with your unit. Great. Now I swing with mine using Grand Admiral Thrawn and restore 2. I just basically negate what you had. So now your thought process is, well, then I got to play a unit before I swing with a unit. Already you have completely flipped how people normally play this game by forcing people to want to play a unit first before they attack, just so they don't get countered by this restore 2, which would negate the base damage. But then if you do that, now I play another unit, and oh, look, we have the same number of units again. So now you're almost forcing your opponent to play the control by getting rid of whatever units you put into play before they can go after your base, because you will just negate the damage on your on the base that they put on there with this restore 2. The other thing to consider is if you start playing with units like these, which all have restore 2 already on them, and now you're going to let me restore 4 when I attack? That's huge. And I think things like Hona, things like the Vigilant Scouts, even this Magistrate Scout, which is a 3 cost 2/4, not great, but with restore 2, if you let him live and I'm on Thrawn, I'm restoring 4 with him? That's gross. That negates so much damage that I just did to you just did to my base. So you almost can't let my units live now. So now I'm inadvertently killing your units by making you attack my units. It's just a weird dynamic shift of how the game is going to be played just by him being across the board from you.
Potentially. I mean, the flip side I would argue is I think you're going to find it pretty challenging keeping that balance very long for a turn or two, maybe. But beyond that, I think it's going to be hard to keep that having the same units, number of units to get that restore to. Definitely going to be something worth testing, worth messing around with, because, yeah, I agree. The leader side is very good. It's the can you survive until the leader side. Basically, I mean, the goal with Thrawn is going to be super laser ignition. Super laser ignition, flip
Single
Thrawn, your
reactor
opponent.
ignition.
Single reactor ignition. Yeah, you know what I mean. Single reactor ignition into flipping Thrawn. Then your opponent plays either one unit and you're going to be able to kill it, or they play 2 units, you drop another unit and basically force them to immediately play another unit as well.
Well, it's not even necessarily that, because depending on what you're playing, if you're playing Cinta in red, you can Cinta out the same turn you play Thrawn. You already have a 2-to-1 advantage unless they had more people
Yeah,
on the board. You can also Chancellor Palpatine and get 2 spies plus the Chancellor plus Thrawn. That's 4 units to whatever they had. So there's plenty of ways to get the bonus unit on the Thrawn flip. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's
that's
like
fair.
you said, the leading up to, but I think the leading up to is not going to be as challenging as much as people think, because I think the Restore 2 will be much more relevant than people are getting credit for, mainly because, and now this might change because we are getting Mandalorian tokens, how prevalent we can go wide in this game from this set. Because we saw, like, when Twilight did it with clones, you just didn't get enough. And the only real
Yeah,
go wide cards we see played are Queen Amidala and Keller and Beck. That's pretty much it. Nobody plays anything really that generates multiple units at the same time other than those 2 cards. So we need to
yeah.
see many more instances of go wide capabilities. Otherwise, I actually think Thrawn is going to be a menace.
But yeah, I can see your argument there, and you've got me thinking. I guess I should mess around with a blue red Thrawn and see what I can come up with. But Yeah, there is potential there. That yeah, he is built as a control leader. That restore and then obviously his on attack ability. Like he is made to be control.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see how that works out. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like control is gonna be probably more needed this set because of all the shields too. Those Mandalorian tokens having shields is going to change the game a lot too, because you're getting crafty smugglers out of every single Mandalorian token.
I think again, going back to the Thrawn Blue Lawbringer,
Yeah,
a
Lawbringer
Piet
wise,
a
yeah,
Piet Blue with a Lawbringer is going to mop the floor with all of these Mandalorian tokens because they are vigilant tokens. You can call
yep,
vigilance and they all just die.
that
So
is fair. Yep.
again, we're going to need to have some good solid answers and capability of going wide faster than we've had before. Otherwise, I don't know. We'll see. Um,
Yeah.
just to do another quick one really fast, there, well, two of them real quick. This T-16 shuttle, everyone's been talking about it. It's Bright Hope, but with an upgrade slightly, because you're able just to
Yep.
basically transfer its attack onto another unit, so you get action compression and a nice big 2/6 Sentinel in space. This is going to be like in every heroic green deck going forward. I feel I don't think it's ever not going to be in there. Um,
Yeah, if you're running heroic green, you run this unit
right.
just across the board. No reason not to.
Bo-Katan Kryze, I think is probably one of the best two drops we've seen, like period. If you can get some Mandalorian tribal stuff going on, I mean, in this Protectorate right next to it, kind of goes a 1-2 punch. This is essentially a 4/4 on turn one. That's just gross for aggro.
Yeah.
And what I'm looking at is if you take the new Leia that came out in Secrets, which is the 5 flip, if they have like different aspects or something, then you're going to get bonuses. Was that Secrets or was that this set? Law
Leia?
Yeah, was it Lawless or was it? Anyway,
The yeah, sorry.
so
The green Leia, that's Lawless.
yeah, so say you take that Leia, you run this Bo-Katan. This Bo-Katan, with these Mandalorian tokens, the Mandalorian tokens are blue. So if you're running like a green Leia with yellow and you're creating Mandalorian tokens, that gives you another aspect for free.
Yep.
So that when she flips, you're getting bonus experience with that because you basically get a third aspect into your deck. And then I've seen people running that with Chancellor Palpatine. Now you're flipping a villainous aspect into it, so you can make her like a 6/6, a 7/7 on her 5 flip turn. That's bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I'm curious to see if a Mandalorian tribal deck can work. I mean, really the only tribal we've had work in the past has been Rebels. That's been really the big one that's worked well.
Imperial to a lesser
Um,
degree.
Imperial to a lesser degree. That's true. So yeah, I'd be curious to see more. I want to see more tribals. I want my Ewok tribal badly.
That's not till
I'm
Homeworlds, I
never gonna stop
guarantee it.
harping on that. Yeah, I'm never gonna start hyping, just begging for that. But worth mentioning also, while we're on that page, that Chimera is really good,
Yeah.
really good.
This is
Um,
going to be a staple in most villainy blue decks.
yeah, the art's amazing. First of all, that
Yeah.
that art is killer. But yeah, it's got a built-in power of the dark side when played that you can choose to use or not. And then on top of that, healing 2 damage from your base every time an enemy unit is defeated. Oh boy, yeah, that's a good capital ship right there. I'm
Yep.
happy to see more good capital ships again.
Yep. And then I do want to touch quickly on Ahsoka Tano. Again, she's been speculated. Is she going to be good? Is she not going to be good? How is this support going to come into play? Can you mess with her? 5/6 okay for a 6 drop, but usually you want more health than that. So my
Yeah,
big combo that I'm looking at with her that I've already like thought up is there's an Ahsoka Tano in Secrets of Power. It's a 3 drop 2/5 that says after this unit completes an attack, you can reveal like a green heroic, and you can then attack with another unit. So this Ahsoka flips out. You can then plot plot armor or a Jar Jar or something else like that to say buff the other Ahsoka, attack with that Ahsoka, which then gives this Ahsoka the buff from the on attack from this, and then you can attack with this Ahsoka. So you get some major action compression going on at that point in time. But yeah, it's just stuff like
yeah,
that is what I'd be looking at trying to do.
yeah. I'm like, not overly excited by her either. Honestly, this one is another one I looked at and said it's okay. It's nice. I mean, yeah, I like buffing another unit on attack. That's useful, but mm, not not anything amazing in my mind.
So,
I did want to mention, actually, we did pass by it really quick too. There's the other one I wanted to mention is the Eye of Sion.
oh, I was way up at the top.
Yeah, that was up higher, but that's an interesting card. People are trying to figure out how to get it. At the end of the day, the big problem for me is just the 7 cost on it. It's got a cool ability, but by the time I'm dropping a 7 drop, that action ability is not that useful, especially since it's only digging for stuff that's 5 or less power. Yes, if you get it upgraded and can start digging for bigger stuff, that could be nice. But I, I, I just think it's overcosted to end up being anything too useful.
We don't know. There might be stuff that brings it down. So
Maybe, yeah. If something brings it down, and something can easily bring up specifically its attack power, so it can dig something better. I think that's the biggest thing. Is by the time I drop a 7 on the 8th turn, I'd rather swing for 5 than dig for another unit with 5 or less power.
So something to consider though is that this digs for and plays for free,
Yep,
meaning it can
and it
be
enters play
heroic,
ready, which is nice too.
it can be heroic or villainous.
That's
So
true.
you think your Callous deck now, which maybe can be digging for heroic stuff or villainous things to put into play, even at a 5, is not the worst thing in the world. So
Potentially.
I'm just saying, like, I think this is an interesting concept, maybe something I'm going to look at building around, but it is definitely a does this like kind of like Zeb? Is this too little, too late by the time you can actually get to playing with it at this point in time? So
Yeah, and that's my thought. Is like I do think I agree. I looked at it. I'm like, that's cool, and then I saw 7 and said, that's not cool.
mm. As much as I hate to bring this up, Foundling Rescue, the biggest thing that makes this an interesting okay removal card, it can kill leaders. It's one of
Yep.
the few cards that is currently in the meta that will be able to kill leaders. So
Yeah. So you'll see this get played a lot. I mean, you have to get them down to 2 health. That's
sure.
a ways to cut them down. But yes, you are correct. More ways to kill leaders is something we do desperately need.
And I would believe that Ninth Sister is definitely something that I'm looking at. A lot of people have been looking at this just because it's Force Throw and Overwhelming Barrage ish at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, if you can sculpt their hand where the only thing that this is discarding is a huge card, it's devastating, but they can always just get rid of a 2-cost card and it doesn't really do much for you. It's like, oh, I did 2 damage. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Um, Mandalorian, 4 mana, 5/4 shielded. Even
Yes.
if the rest of this said nothing, this unit is bonkers.
Yeah.
So
That's really powerful.
this is going to see a lot of play.
Yeah, if you're playing, this is one of those. If you're playing Blue Heroism, you're probably putting this in your deck no matter what.
Right. So the rest of the stuff is more of the starter deck stuff that we've kind of already talked about in the past. So not really going to go over too much of that right now. So, but I
Yeah,
think that's
but
going to wrap up this portion of the Ashes preview stuff. We'll be doing more of this as we keep more and more spoilers coming out.
yep. Looking forward to it. I'm excited to see what we're going to get from the set and to start brewing some new weird things potentially.
So, yep. Well, thanks for tuning into the weekly SWUmary, and we'll see you all next time.
Thanks, everybody.